Alrighty, folks. So we have moved on from the peace talk, and Russia and Serbia again have not signed these agreements. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Kosovo have. International monitors are going to be removed from Kosovo March 20th, 1999, and this is done to prepare for military action, basically to get these international peacekeepers out of the region so that when the bombs come, they are not going to be hit. The United States representative visits Belgrade, the capital of Serbia and Yugoslavia at this time period, one more time, and he discusses with Milosevic, stating, "If I leave here without an agreement today, bombing will start almost immediately, and it will be swift, severe, and sustained." Now, this is Richard Holbrooke. He's going to be the American diplomat who's really involved in trying to bring about a peaceful resolution of the situation. Milosevic, again, does not really go forward with this. Holbrooke leaves, and that is when the bombing is going to begin. Known as Operation Allied Forces, it starts March 24th, 1999, and this is the start of NATO's action against Serbia. Now, NATO needs to show relevance again. There's the acronym going around that NATO, instead of meaning North Atlantic Treaty Organization, simply means no action, talk only. Basically, it's that NATO just likes to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and not actually do anything. So again, it's kind of a way of them showing some action and some relevance here. A couple other things that we've already talked about a little bit, so we want to take a little further. Number one is this is kind of another way for NATO to show, so one is showing relevance. Two, it's a nice way for the United States to kind of make up, so to speak, for its inaction during the genocide in Rwanda, and really move forward with stuff from there. Now, the goals of Operation Allied Force, there's a number of these goals. Number one is an immediate end to violence and an immediate end to repression by Milosevic. They want Milosevic to stop repressing Kosovar Albanians and to stop Serbian violence, particularly in Kosovo. They demand the withdrawal of all military, police, and paramilitary forces from Kosovo, again, kind of bringing about a peaceful situation right through here, but getting the Serbian military out of Kosovo. They want a UN peacekeeping presence in Kosovo. They want an unconditional and safe return of all refugees. This is going to be refugees, both Serbian refugees that had left Kosovo, their ability to come back, and Kosovar Albanians, their ability to come back to Kosovo as well. And lastly, they want the establishment of a political framework agreement for Kosovo. So a way for Kosovo to no longer necessarily just be this part of Serbia, but to have some form of framework, be it independence, be it an autonomous region, or something where Kosovo has some political framework and political recognition right through here. Now, again, Serbia believes, and the Serbian perspective here is that Kosovo is a part of their country. Therefore, this is a domestic issue, and the other countries should not be involved, particularly NATO. They're going to be upset by this, as you can understand why. Yugoslav military institutions or installations are going to be hit right away in this attack. NATO is going to target dual-use locations as well, such as bridges, power stations, communication facilities, probably the most famous being the Avala TV tower located just outside of Belgrade. Now, there is some criticism right through here on why NATO would be hitting these. Dual-use location is something that's used both by the military and civilians, so there's an argument right through here. Is it justified to attack locations that civilians are also using? NATO's going to make the argument that yes, it was, because these institutions were being used by the military or could be used by the military. A lot of others are going to make the argument that that doesn't really matter. You cannot be targeting civilian institutions. This, again, is a violation of international law and the Geneva Conventions. NATO's, again, going to argue that attacks were justified because these could be used by the Yugoslav military. However, international law would disagree, stating that what NATO is doing right through here by hitting these dual-use locations is a violation of international law and a violation of the Geneva Convention. We're also going to get the Grdelica train bombing. I butchered that again. I apologize. On April 12th, where NATO is going to miscalculate the direction and the speed of a train. They're meaning to take out a bridge. Instead, they hit the train. There's going to be between 20 and 60 killed, depending on what source you're looking at. It's going to be a passenger train, though. This is not going to look good for NATO, and it's going to really hurt NATO's reputation in a situation that a lot of people on the international stage were already upset with. We're going to have the bombing of ethnic Albanians on April 14th. They're going to be used as human shields. This is going to be the Yugoslav forces right through here, using them as human shields. Again, something we've talked about previously, the incident on the bridge with the French. Yugoslav forces are going to claim that there is a targeting of civilians going on right through here, and that this is NATO targeting civilians. Whether or not that's the case, this again is a PR nightmare for NATO because innocent civilians are being murdered because of this. We're going to get Radio Television Serbia, which is a radio station, or a TV station, excuse me, located in the middle of Belgrade, Serbia, right next to a large Orthodox church, a smaller church, and then a large park as well. It's going to be bombed, and there's going to be 16 individuals killed in this attack. Amnesty International is going to call this a war crime because this was a civilian TV station that was hit. The building is still there today. If you ever are in Belgrade, it's an interesting thing to see, and really a quite sad thing to see. But Amnesty International is going to call this a war crime. And then we get the Chinese embassy bombing on May 7th. Where NATO accidentally dropped a bomb on the Chinese embassy in Belgrade. You get widespread protest in China against NATO and against the United States. As a result of this, NATO is going to claim that it was an accident, issues a full apology to the Chinese government, but in the end, the damage is done. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'll see you later. Good luck.